Most businesses don't have a content problem, they have a strategy problem. With AI making it easier than ever to create content, we're seeing more posts, more platforms, and more pressure, but not more results. If you feel like you're constantly creating and not gaining traction, it's not because you need more ideas or more channels. It's because content without direction doesn't drive growth. It creates noise. And heaps of content without direction and quality doesn't build growth, it builds confusion. What's missing is a strategy that connects content to buyer intent and buyer intent to revenue. Welcome to the Digital Success for Business podcast. I'm Leanne Cohens, founder of Marketing Leap, and for over 12 years, I've helped business owners move beyond just doing marketing to truly understanding how content influences behavior, trust, and decision making. Right now, the biggest challenge I see isn't a lack of tools, platforms, or even ideas. It's a lack of structure. Businesses are creating more content than ever, but without a clear strategy. It often works against them instead of supporting growth. So in this episode, I'm breaking down what to stop, what to start, and what to scale in your 2026 content strategy so your marketing actually works with your business, not against it. Because in a world where content is unlimited, clarity is the competitive advantage. More content doesn't fix confusion, strategy does. The way most business owners were taught to plan content was built for a completely different internet to what we have now in 2026. It was all about monthly calendars filled with disconnected posts, posting because it was Tuesday and chasing reach, likes, or visibility without really thinking about why the content existed in the first place. And in 2026, in an increasing online world, that approach just doesn't work because content doesn't work in isolation anymore. And honestly, buyers don't consume it that way. As I discussed in the previous episode, buyers move across platforms. They see you on LinkedIn, then again on Instagram, and then Facebook. Then they might watch a reel and then come back weeks later to read a blog or check a review. Buyers will revisit your content when the timing feels right for them. What they're looking for isn't more posts, it's consistency, clarity, and reassurance that you actually know what you're doing. That's why content now has to support the buyer journey, not just fill a feed. If your content isn't helping someone move from awareness to trust to confidence, then it's not doing its job. And remember, if your content isn't connected to a customer journey, it's just noise. And that's exactly why we see so many businesses exhausted by creating content, but still stuck with no results. You might be creating plenty of content, but you're simply not creating with intention. And please take this as permission. Not everything deserves your time, and not every platform deserves your energy. And one of the biggest shifts we're seeing this year is businesses are finally realizing they don't have a content problem, they have a prioritization problem. When we step into a fractional CMO role, the first thing we do isn't add more content, it's deciding what needs to stop, what needs to start, and what deserves to be scaled. Because what's working now and will continue to work is content that builds authority and reduces friction for your buyer. Short-form video builds familiarity fast. It helps people recognize you, hear your voice, and feel like they know you long before they ever require. Search-led content builds trust over time. Your website, your blogs, your core pages, they're quietly doing the heavy lifting when someone's researching, comparing, and validating. User-generated content builds credibility because people trust other people more than they do brands. That means reviews, testimonials, lived experiences, all proof that matters more than polished messaging. Podcasts and long-form content build depth and loyalty, and this is where nuance lives. This is where authority is earned, not claimed. And newsletters, they build owned relationships, not algorithms. No guessing. Just a direct connection with people who've raised their hand and said, I want to hear from you. And it's one of the few marketing activities that you actually own and have control over. Now, none of these work in isolation, but together they create momentum. And this is why you don't build content schedules. We build content ecosystems, systems where each piece supports the next and every channel has a clear role to play. The goal isn't to be everywhere, it's to be remembered. And this is exactly where a fractional CMO lens makes the difference, because someone has to decide what actually moves the needle and what is just noise. And this is where most businesses are quietly bleeding time and energy without realizing it. The first thing that needs to stop this year is posting without a purpose. If you can't answer why a piece of content exists, that's who it's for, where it's meant to lead, and what role it plays, it's not helping your business grow. And another big one, creating content that isn't tied to a specific goal. Likes might feel good, it's a great dopamine hit. Reach looks impressive, but it's a vanity metric that really means nothing. If your content isn't moving someone closer to trusting you, or to have a conversation or a conversion, it's simply not doing its job. You need to stop relying on static posts alone, because the way people consume content has shifted, and attention is the new currency now. And if your strategy hasn't adapted to search, video, conversation, and validation touchpoints, you're asking old tactics to do new jobs. And finally, stop treating content like a daily task instead of a strategic asset. Posting just to stay visible keeps you busy but not effective. Random acts of marketing feel productive, but they don't compound. Busy marketing isn't the same as effective marketing. And this is exactly the point where many business owners realize that they don't need more ideas, they simply need direction. And this is the work that we do every day inside Marketing Leap. We help businesses step back, look at the bigger picture, and build a content system that actually supports growth, not just activity. So whether that's our fractional CMO support, VIP intensives, or our done-for-you services with websites, social media management, and SEO, the goal is always the same: clarity, alignment, and momentum. And if you're listening to this thinking, I feel like I'm doing a lot, but nothing's really moving, that's your cue. You don't need to post more. You need a strategy that tells your content where to go. Now that we've covered what to stop, the real shift happens when you decide what deserves your energy next, what to start doing, and what's actually worth scaling this year in 2026. This is where the shift really happens, because once you stop doing things that drain momentum, you create space for clarity. The first thing to start with is authority, not trends, not platforms, authority. That means getting clear on a few core themes you actually want to be known for, the problems you solve best, the conversations you're qualified to lead, and the space that you want to own in your market. When those authority pillars are clear, content becomes a lot easier to create because you're no longer guessing. From there, you start working smarter with what you do create. One strong idea shouldn't live once and disappear. It should be repurposed, reshaped, and reused across different platforms, formats, and touchpoints, so your message has time to land, because that's how familiarity is built, and familiarity builds trust. Another shift that matters this year is episodic content, not random posts, not one-offs, but content that builds over time, where people start to recognize your voice, your perspective, and your patterns. This is how audiences move from seeing you to remembering you. And finally, start optimizing content for how people actually search, not just how they scroll. People are asking questions in Google, YouTube, and inside AI tools and across all the social platforms. And when your content answers those questions clearly and consistently, it starts working long after you hit publish. And this is exactly the work that we do inside the Chaos to Clarity, helping business owners turn content into systems instead of a stress point. No more guessing, no more scattered posting, no more feeling like you're doing all the things with nothing to show for it, because consistency isn't about volume, it's about direction. In our crazy, always online world, direction matters more than ever, because people don't want to like your content anymore. They want to believe you. Today, people don't buy from the loudest brand. They buy from the most believable one. And that's what's been termed EEAT. It's a ranking system by Google and AI, which is experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And if your content doesn't prove those things, doing more won't help. It simply amplifies the doubt. And with the rise of AI search, EEAT has become even more crucial. That's experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness if you missed it earlier. It's not an SEO buzzword, it's a decision-making filter. Buyers are asking themselves often, without even realizing it, have you actually done what you're talking about? Do you understand their world? Can they trust you with their money, their business, or their next move? So this is why content without proof doesn't work anymore. Authority isn't declared, it's demonstrated through lived experience and consistency, through showing your thinking, not just your highlights. And authority isn't what you say about yourself, it's what your content proves over time. And once someone believes you, the next hurdle is simple. You need to be easy to choose. This is why your website has about 5 seconds to answer 3 questions. Am I in the right place? Do they understand my problem? And do I trust them enough to keep going? If that clarity isn't there, no amount of content will save that conversion. The same applies to your Google business profile. Reviews, real photos, clear messaging, and up-to-date information all reinforce trust before someone ever clicks through to your site. It's no longer a nice to have. It's part of the funnel and your client's buyer journey. This is why, inside our fractional CMO model, we don't treat content, website, SEO, or platforms as separate projects. They all work together to do 2 things: build belief and make the decision to either buy or work with you easy. Authority makes you believable, and clarity makes you easy to choose. Once those foundations are in place, then you can scale. Scaling too early is where most businesses go wrong. They add more platforms, more content, more effort, all before the message is clear. And all that does is amplify confusion. Real growth comes from scaling what already works. And podcasting is one of the strongest places to do that, not as a side project, but as a pillar. A podcast gives you space to explain, teach, and connect without fighting the algorithm every day. One strong episode becomes articles, short form video, email content, and social posts from a single idea. Likewise, LinkedIn continues to punch well above its weight as well, especially when it's used for education and connection rather than constant promotion. Thoughtful posts and longer form articles allow authority to compound over time. And short form video, which is Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikToks, works best when it extends what you're already doing. Clips from podcasts, key insights, simple explanations, same message, different format. Scaling works when you repeat the message, not when you reinvent it. So you scale clarity, not chaos. This is the moment when most business owners breathe out because content then stops being reactive. And again, inside our fractional CMO services, content is never planned in isolation. It's mapped monthly around business goals, buyer intent, and capacity. One core theme, 1 or 2 pillar pieces, multiple repurposed assets to support visibility, trust, and conversion. That's it. Instead of asking, what should I post today? The question becomes, what does my audience need to hear this month? Where are they in the buying journey? This is how content becomes a growth system instead of a constant drain on time and energy. And this is why businesses that sustain growth aren't the loudest, they're the cleverest. So to recap, if content feels overwhelming right now, it's not because you're bad at marketing. It's because you've been trying to do it all without a system. Posting more certainly won't fix that. Being on more platforms definitely won't fix it. And chasing the next trend, again, doesn't fix it either. What fixes this is structure, direction, and content that actually supports your business goals instead of draining your time and energy. And this is the work that we do every day inside Marketing Leap, helping business owners turn content into a strategic growth engine, not a constant source of stress. So if you want help building a clear, repeatable content system that supports your business growth this year and beyond, head to marketingleap.net and book your strategy session, because clarity scales, chaos doesn't. So join me next time as I discuss why doing marketing alone is costing small business more than they think. This episode isn't about selling a role, it's about exposing the hidden cost of going it alone, from time, momentum, missed opportunities, and decisions made without a strategic lens. So make sure you don't miss this one. Thanks for tuning in to the Digital Success for Business podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on YouTube for even more tips.